My name is Moses Powell. I've been studying jiu-jitsu for the last 20 years. I'm the master for Renda Visitashino. And at this particular time, I'm a senior master in the art of jiu-jitsu Te and jiu-jitsu Ryu.
.radio.net presents to you some of the most deadly jiu-jitsu masters in the world. Trained in the vicious urban inner-city street combat system of Sanukas Ryu Jiu-Jitsu, this art was created by the legendary Dr. Moses Powell, the father of American contemporary jiu-jitsu and the greatest martial artist of the 20th century. This network brings together 4 radio shows 4 nights a week, starting with Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Each one teach one, with the Pia Master himself, Grandmaster Urban Muhammad, and his protege, Professor Terrence Hale. Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Modern Combat Masters, hosted by the inheritor of GM Billy Davis Jiu-Jitsu, guru of his own Filipino system, and Sanukas Master, Grandmaster Daryl Sargent, and his co-host, Sifu Reseda de Jesus. Thursday nights at 9 p.m. is Professor Tom Curry's radio talk show. A Kenpo Master and Professor of Sanukas Ryu, 20 years law enforcement, senior tactical training instructor for intelligence retired, and author of the official Sanukas Ryu Jiu-Jitsu testing and training curriculum. And Friday nights at 8 p.m. is Making the Connection, hosted by the president of DocRadio.net, Grandmaster in the art of Sanukas Ryu and Soke of Kuroshi Kaikan Martial Arts System, and president of the Family of Sanukas organization, Soki Haisan Khalik, and his co-host, Shihan Farouk Gibbs. All of these shows can be linked to online by typing in docradio.net or listening live at the scheduled time by dialing 646-716-6825. DocRadio.net is also proud to present DocMagazine.net, the world's largest martial art magazine dedicated to Dr. Moses Powell, Sanukas Ryu Eye-to-Eye Jiu-Jitsu, Urban Tactical Street Self-Defense, and Streetology. Please join our Facebook group by typing in docradio.net and follow us on Twitter by typing docradio.net. Thank you for your support, and in the words of Doc, eye to eye, heart to heart, to the wall and back, os.
Blog Talk Radio.
You can't take a man and tell him he must be rigid when he flows, like a stream.
I had never seen jiu-jitsu done. And to see this huge person just flying through the air and rolling out, not making a sound. It was very beautiful, very frightening.
He's big and he's fast and he's knowledgeable and he's a gentleman. And he's an exceptional man.
My type of rollouts are not like you might take it, like it just looks beautiful, but it's a very dangerous thing because if I can attack with those, then there's something else, And most people just look at it and say, it's unbelievable, but they don't even see the point because whoever blocked the rollout.
Welcome to the Furqan Shabazz show. We dedicated to the memory and the legacy of Dr. Moses Powell. I must admit, audience, tonight I'm dead tired. I worked like 12, 13 hours today. I was actually going to cancel the show, but it's just like I guess like when you're tired, you don't feel like going to that dojo. Sometimes you just have to push yourself. So I just want to kind of just jump into it. Basically what I did with these series, with these volumes, what I really did was a lot of these masters that I interviewed, there were a lot of key points, when I would interview these great people that I think that a lot of, I'm not going to say a lot, but I think some people, I want to make sure that people didn't overlook. Sometimes when you speak to people, you can have, I could give you an SAT word, because it's a word called cognitive dissonance. And a good example of cognitive dissonance is, let's say if I'm a doctor, right? I'm a heart surgeon, right? So I'm a young African American male, and I'm a heart surgeon, and I go and I'm at a party, right? So I tell the person, say, well, what do you do? This person does this or that. They say, well, I'm a heart surgeon, and then when they come back to me 5 minutes later, they say, what hospital are you a nurse at? You see, cognitive dissonance is when the title that the person holds in your mind is greater than your expectation of that person. So because you can't phantom in your mind that I could actually be a heart surgeon, your mind breaks me down to something that you can phantom me becoming. So that's the definition of cognitive dissonance. So the thing is that when people listen to these shows, sometimes cognitive dissonance can kick in when you don't. Sometimes you may not pick up on some very powerful things that was actually broadcast on these interviews. And I wanted to reinforce some of those points. Two of the points that I think before I get right into the show, this is going to be a quick show. Actually, I'm just going to run through these great interviews and then we'll get But two of the two examples I think of cognitive dissonance. I think one is when I say things like Dr. Moses Powell was the greatest martial artist of the 20th century. I think a lot of people have cognitive dissonance when I say that. I don't think that they can associate Dr. Powell with that statement because that statement is such a powerful statement that I just don't think some can do it. But others can. I definitely can. And another statement I always say is that that there's no leader. There's no leader of Snooker's Rule, but that the leader of Snooker's Rule is the teachings. The teachings of Dr. Moses Powell is the leader of Snooker's Rule. And it's our job to gravitate to the grandmasters, the professors, senior professors, shihans, senseis, and try to get as much of these teachings as we can possibly get. So to jump right into the show, it's interview. This is volume 2, and in volume 2, I'm doing interviews from interview 7 all the way to interview 12. In interview 7, I had an opportunity to interview Professor Yahya Alpha-Beta, and it's unfortunate that he made that transition. May Allah grant him paradise. And when I think of this professor, I think of a man. To me, I see him as a true Sanukist man. I know Doc called him one of his sons. And this was interview 7. And in interview 7 is going to deal with this question: who is the leader of Snooker's Rule? Us.
Strong men, responsible men. And he taught us a system that the world is looking up at, and don't let no one try to divert you and hold you in contempt that we have to be in between this, who's that. Our teachers told us each one teach one, and that's a great meaning and understanding. We have our elders, we have our grandmasters. And said we need to look back to, we need to revise to. We have the people who started from the very beginning with Doc. We can always go back to them and ask their advice, seek their understanding, seek their knowledge. This is all about growth, and that's what this snooker is about. It's about growth. It's an art that will always evolve. We have our foundations. We have our advancement. You know what I'm saying? We have the seeds that Doc left us. He didn't leave us stagnated. He didn't leave us in the blind. He gave us a tunnel of light to follow. And that's all we got to do. Stick with our teacher and follow what he wants. And nothing else. We don't need egos. We don't need wannabes. We don't need I'm going to be controlled. There is no leader to this art. There's only one leader, and that's Dr. Moses Powell. Eye to eye, heart to heart.
That was a great man. Great man. Next interview was with Grandmaster Darryl Sargent. had the opportunity to get to know this man. He is actually a great man. He has a lot of knowledge, just on a lot of things. Not only just Sanukas, but his knowledge is it runs very deep in terms of like the Filipino arts. And let me just also say this, like, the direction of this show is like, I'm not really trying to get ratings with this show. Like, I don't, if only my daughter's here, cool with that. I'm just really just trying to take some time out, as long as I'm doing these shows, to document the life of this great man, that hopefully, people who want to learn this art, will gravitate and learn this art. So this is not really entertainment or anything like that. This is just like more or less, I guess you could say, like a documentary in a radio format, just trying to document the life of a man that I admire a lot. Although I've only met him once in my life, but but I still admire him. The next question that I asked the next master, his name was Grandmaster Darryl Sargent. I said, what are the similarities between Sanukas Rue and Filipino multiple attacks? So let me just play that one. Yeah, I see. What are some of the similarities of Sanukas and Filipino Indonesian martial arts?
Well, there's a lot. There's a definite emphasis on footwork, on angles, on the precise use of the angles. One of the biggest things is the entry and exit methodology. Doc used a lot of entry-exits as his philosophy, and his entries were very, very different in comparison to a lot of different systems that I had seen. Fluidity of movement, the emphasis on that, that is very common within the Filipino and Indonesian and even the African martial arts. A lot of course, those arts were based directly on dance, while the fluidity of movement, because of our background in a Filipino methodology from Professor V, we still remained or kept up with the fluidity of movement, that emphasis, the ability to translate empty hands into weapon movement. Although Doc would tell a lot of people that he wasn't an arnisador or any of that, Doc had a very, very good understanding of weaponry and how to translate the movement from his empty hand into weaponry. The philosophy of multiple opponents. Anytime you look really at what Doc was doing, you can pretty much say that we worked on multiple opponents, not just a singular opponent that was in front of you. I mean, we talked about that all the time, just in the simple thing that we always talked about leaving class, watch your back. There's always more than one. So that's a very important thing that we dealt with as well. Simplistic and effective techniques. If you look at Filipino martial arts, they're not very long, elongated techniques. They're very short. They're very to the point. They'll enter in. They'll exit out with a throw, arm drag. And all these interviews you hear in its entirety in the archives. Now, these 6 interviews, though, I haven't uploaded them. I mean, I got a lot of interviews I have to upload, but between today and Sunday, you can definitely hear these interviews in its entirety. All right, the next interview was with Miss Gina Barnett, who I referred to on the show as Miss Powell. This was actually the last. This was actually the last significant other.
Radio.
Hello and welcome to iTi Radio on the Mat series. This is
yes, and I'm going to play this interview. And yeah, so this Miss Gina Barnett was actually the last living significant other of Dr. Moses Powell. In the interview, respectively referred to her as Miss Powell. I've heard off the record that Miss Barnett was actually Dr. Powell's soulmate. Like this was a woman that that Dr. Powell really loved and he really cared about, and that she was with him to his last day. In this interview, let me see. The thing that I liked about this interview that I was trying to extract out in terms of knowledge was I asked her this question. I said, who are the original 15 Grand Masters and the 2 secret weapons? So let me play that right now.
I'll pass your number. I'm going to pass your number to her, by the way.
Okay, all right. And I'm just going to go down the line very quick, because this is another thing that would take some time, because there's a story with each one of them. Nathaniel McBride, Hassan Khalik, Anthony Muhammad, Bill McLeod, John Davis, Rudy Jones, George Logan, Bill Shanique, Anton Muhammad, Raleigh Hernandez, Shim Yahuda, Urban Show, Noel Arrington, and Frankie Adderley. Okay? And at a future time, if you allow me, I'd like to fill you in with those dates and the uniqueness of each one of them. And
absolutely.
For people that might be listening, that is quite a list of superior technician teachers, that my husband picked for different reasons to be grandmasters, which is not a traditional thing for a teacher to make grandmasters of the students. And I believe that my husband did this to prepare for him not teaching, not to leave us, okay, but for him to not teach anymore, to be comfortable that his system would be perpetuated. He chose these 15 people, okay? And like I said, I'm sorry?
Ms. Powell, so the grandmasters that you just named, these were the grandmasters that Dr. Powell made grandmasters. Like, these weren't certificates that they can grow into. No, these are the people that he actually made grandmasters.
Yes, ask them. Yes.
Wow.
And also there are other oil students. I listened to part of the interview that you did with Grandmaster Anthony, and he spoke about being taught almost the same way that Moses Powell was, being an underbelt, training and teaching black belts, And through the years, my husband did the same thing. He handpicked students to not give that rank to. He liked secret weapons. That's what he called them, And my husband has two godsons who are excellent technicians, excellent teachers, and they don't have the high rank because they don't need it. They walk like their teacher. If they come humble, they're gentlemen, and they have a lot to offer. And when you leave them, you're taught. There's others.
That was a very powerful interview. Like I said, you can catch in its entirety. Just give me this week to upload that interview. Those 15 grandmasters, like I said, I would definitely, Google them, try to find out those who's close to your area, train with them. Those people are still living. And that would be, if you can get it from them, you're definitely going to be blessed. The next interview was with Sogi Hassan Khalik. This was actually one of my favorite interviews, not only because he was my first martial arts teacher as a kid, but he also is just a great person, he's a great human being. And I actually still remember one of the techniques he taught. I remember he had a technique called needle and thread, where it's actually off of a choke. And you take the hand, you put it through both of the, you put it through, like the guy's hands is on your throat. You put your hand over one of the arms and you go through and you come back over the other one as if you're sewing. And then you take the other hand and you push the lower part of his back down, and that takes him out. And from time to time, I do that sometimes when I'm in the dojo, and it works. It still works. It's a really slick technique. I like it. So anyway, with no further ado, let me play Soke Hassan. Hold on. Oh, and the question that I asked Soke was, what is I think it was what is Sanuki's rule? But really, to get to the point, I think he talks about the element of creation, and it was in this interview that actually was the seed for how I began to envision the Triangle Alliance after this interview.
It's okay.
when I was in one of our conversations we had, a brief conversation we had, you was talking to me about that Doc said that Sanukus was the element of creation, being a principle in Sanukus. Can you expand a little bit on that? Can you expand on that philosophy?
Well, yes, sir. His approach to martial art was more on a spiritual basis than more than a lot of people really have come to understand. He did a whole lot of putting things together that he created. He often said that no one taught him Sanukus. Sanukus was a blessing given to him as far as creation, and he created it for people to create around. Now, I say that in the sense that one of his favorite expressions was, take this and put it with what you already know to make it become greater than what you already have. So if you have something, now this is going to make it greater. And if you didn't have nothing, now you have something that you can hold on to. And that's a philosophy that I've come to know Sanukus to be. That's why I always understood more when he said that it was the essence, is that it was something that helped other things create themselves to be better than they were when they first came in. So, that's just for people. It stood for the martial art because Sanukus has a lot of elements to it. It has boxing in it, it has karate in it, it has jiu-jitsu in it, it has kabuto in it. It has a lot of elements in it. So instead of trying to make yourself excellent in one, you're creating as you learn.
That's deep. I still don't fully understand what he means when he says you're creating as you learn, but inshallah I'll ask him. The next interview was the next question I had was with Chief Professor Shim Yehuda Shim, and Chief Professor, man, he's a great dude, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know there's politics that goes with him, but I think he's. I hate using the word I think because it's not about what I think. I can hear grandmasters, young man, it's not what you think. It's protocol. So I'm not gonna say I think, but I'm just gonna say, I think, he's a good guy. Chief Professor's a good guy. I mean, he's down to earth. He gave me a great interview, and the question that I asked him is, what is the Sanukus rule mindset? So let me play that one.
And a lot of things that you're talking about is really like virtues. And that's what you're describing. You're describing virtues.
I'm going to say, when I was...
Oh, no. Wrong one. Oh, wrong one.
In fact, I'm not going to hold you up, for Isha prayer.
My ladies do a good job with that.
Oh, man. Oh, what is going on? Wait a minute. Hold on. No. I gotta find this one. Let me see. No, hold on.
In fact, I'm not gonna hold you up.
Man, don't tell me this. It's okay. When I was in one of our. No. Let me go to a break. I gotta find this. Out of respect for this master, just give me 1 second. I gotta find this. I can't believe it. This is why I was gonna cancel this show. I was rushing. Hold on. Okay, I found it. This is an interview I did with Chief Professor Shim Yehuda.
What is snooker's rule at its highest level in terms of self-defense? What would you say it is at its highest level in terms of self-defense?
At its highest level of self-defense,
yes,
unconsented contact means that the fight has begun. Did you hear me?
No, say again. I'm sorry.
Unconsented contact means that the fight has begun. To further define that, men don't fight, they go to war. Women and children, they fight. Men go to war. So what is Sanukas at its highest level? War.
Wow, that was heavy right there. I gotta play that again, man. Y'all gotta hear this again. Y'all gotta hear what this man just said. What is Sanukas at its highest level? You gotta hear this shit.
What is snooker's rule at its highest level in terms of self-defense? What would you say it is at its highest level in terms of self-defense?
At its highest level of self-defense,
yes,
unconsented contact means that the fight has begun. Did you hear me?
No, say again. I'm sorry.
Unconsented contact means that the fight has begun. To further define that, men don't fight, they go to war. Women and children, they fight. Men go to war. So what is Sanukas at its highest level? War.
Plus, I've never, that powerful. That's a powerful. Like Grandmaster Logan told me, he said Sanukas is an attitude. Sanukas rule is a great martial arts. Anyone who's listening, you should just go to Google and just put that name. You should learn this art. This is a really, really great art. It's a really, really great art. The last person I have is Miss Arlette Pender. Now she doesn't hold any no, definitely, she doesn't hold any doesn't hold high rank or anything like that. I think she was just like a brown belt, but she definitely was from the 554. She's trained there, and she was just a good friend of mine that I knew from Brooklyn. She's actually from Brownsville, and I knew her for years. She knew my family, and in all the years that I knew her, I never knew her father had designed the self-defense complete patch, the patch that had the panther in it. Her dad designed that. I never knew that as long as I known this woman. But anyway, the question that I asked her was, what was the name of the baddest female in Sanukas rule? And I already know what the answer is. I'm about to play it. But this is no disrespect to Grandmaster Veronica, because Grandmaster Veronica is definitely the queen of Sanukas rule. But this here was an interview that I did with Miss Arlette Pender.
And a lot of things that you're talking about is really like virtues. And that's what you're describing. You're describing virtues.
I'm going to say, when I was younger, young teens, after my teenage years, of course, I wanted to go ahead and do what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be a martial artist. One of the baddest female martial artists in his dojo, Alberta. I don't know if anybody knows Alberta, but if you know her, she was the baddest thing. Little black lady, she was the baddest chick in the dojo. And we trained with Lil John, Alberta, Brother Leslie, and of course my dad. There was Robert. I don't remember his last name, but that is if people know Atlantic Avenue, Sanukas rule, they would know Alberta. And I admired her, but when I got to my teenage years, I wanted to do something else. So as his career progressed and he went to Florida, and then it kind of blew up, and the whole, everybody tagged on. And I'm not saying people, the good people got what they needed from Sensei, and the bad people got what they needed from Sensei, and every people got what they needed, and everybody got a piece of what they got a piece of, So he did touch a lot of souls in different ways. He has, people have internalized him and what he did in his art, a martial art, in different ways. Some of it for self-pleasure, some of it for, help, some of it for finance, some of it. But do I think he got the best of the deal? And I think how he gets the best of the deal, somebody just give him, and I can do it. I'm not saying no, but I'm saying people who are talking about him and who are have opening schools about him, who have trained under him, and who have said that they know him and that he has sent them some kind of message and some kind of something to do, then, yeah, maybe get together and make a foundation.
Oh, it's a real sister. Oh, I also want to shout out Grandmaster Logan. He had sent me a CD of it was a tribute to Professor V, and also Dr. Moses Powell, and also another CD, a portrait of Dr. Powell. I want to thank you, on the air for that. And you gotta come. We gotta do another show. So this kind of wraps up the show. I made some notes though on just some little side notes that I did. And if you're tuning into the show, and if you don't know anything about Sanucus Rule, just go to google.com and then just type in the word Sanucus Rule. It's SANUCES space RYU, right? That's how you spell it. And then just try to find this patch. Okay? Now the patch is gonna have like a red circle, and it's gonna have like this man in the middle. And then it's going to have a pyramid with this eye, okay? And I'm going to try to upload this patch in case you've never seen this patch before on this broadcast, so you can get an idea what this patch looks like. But as I was working on this show, I was looking at this patch, and I started like making some notes to myself. And then I noticed, like for instance, first of all, when you look in the patch, right, you have the triangle, right, and so the triangle. As we know, the triangle is 180 degrees, but that's not really a triangle, though. That's a pyramid, and a pyramid has 720 degrees. So a pyramid is actually a double revolution, because it got 360 and 360 twice. So a pyramid is a pyramid actually has more degrees than a circle. So a pyramid is a very powerful. It has it just has a lot of degrees in a pyramid. But anyway, then you got this. But then when you also look at the patch, you got the triangle. You got the eye that's disattached from the pyramid, and you got like this eye in it, right? So I guess the eye is like the all-seeing eye, like almost like at the back of a dollar bill. You got that eye, right? So to me, it's like in Sanucus, you almost like an Illuminati. You know what I mean? Like there is an Illuminati. I think there's an Illuminati in all martial arts. You know what I mean? Like I think you got Illuminati like in government. You have Illuminati. Like to me, like the Illuminati would be like there's forces. There's an all-seeing eye in Sanucus Rule that sees everything that goes on, but you don't see the eye. But this eye sees you. This eye sees the show, but I don't even see the eye. I don't even know the eye sees me, but yet I see the eye. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I think that was Doc. Like when Doc was living, he knew everything that was going on. You know what I mean? If you came in his presence, you think he didn't know, but he was that eye. He was the, you know what I'm saying? He was that eye. And then also, it could also mean eye to eye. Eye to eye. When you look at yourself 2 o'clock in the morning and you eye to eye with yourself, what do you see? And then there's and then of course you have the School of Survival. If you think about that part of the patch, that's pretty deep too. Because if you think about it, School of Survival. You know what I'm saying? Like when you think about survival, at the basic level, right? I mean, when you think about survival, you think about like if you're in the Boy Scouts, survive in the, out in the woods. But he's not talking about that type. Or if you're going out to war, something like that. But if you think about School of Survival, he's really talking about the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like this art was created to survive in them streets, right? Then you have the pier, right? So some people say go back. They say some people like the pier was like, like if you talk to Professor Yusuf Rahman, he's gonna to this day he said that the original pier was like ground fighting, And then for others, the pier represents the kata. But then from others, the pier, represents that. He had the forms, but it also represents the nerve striking. And in the interview that I did with Professor Denson, Doc spent $10,000 on that knowledge because the pier was actually an old Chinese art. It was an old esoteric Chinese art from Chinatown in New York. He had an art. He had an art called the pier. and he spent $10,000. Doc spent over a period of $10,000 just to learn Pia, and that was the name of the art, Pia, and it was all about the central nervous system, strikes, you know what I'm saying, like that. And then, but also, like if you look at the pyramid, the color of the pyramid is like it's red, brownish, and yellow, right? And to me, that color would be like fire. You know what I mean? Because like if you look at the pyramid, right, and look at the bottom part of that pyramid, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a red, brownish, and then it's yellow. That's fire. You know, that's fire, and that's at the base. That's at the very base of the pyramid, right? And then also, and then if you look at the pyramid, then right above the base, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have like five steps. You know what I mean? Like you got like 5 levels on top of the base. You know, and then you go to the like. I bet all this stuff means something. You know what I'm saying? Like why did he choose to use that color? I'm sure that had a meaning to it. You know why? You know, and then when you go on to, you got then if you look at the man, it says notice. All right, now check this out. The man, he's in the middle of the you got this guy. He's in the middle of the patch. I guess this is supposed to be Dr. Powell, right? So he's in the middle of the patch, and then he got the one finger, right? But notice that his finger is outside of his patch. You know what I'm saying? Like that's deep right there. You know, his finger's outside of the patch, and also he's standing on top of his finger, right? And in the way he's standing, he's 90 degrees, so he's standing straight up, but on his finger. That's crazy. He's holding the world up on his finger. That's how bad he is. How many people you know can hold the world up on their finger? And then okay, so then you got the circle, right? So you got the circle that goes around the entire body, but the circle is 360 degrees. But again, see, this is the deepest part the deepest part about this whole patch. His hand goes outside of 360. You see what I'm saying? Like his hand, you know, breaks the circle. You know, and to me, you know, what he was touching outside of that circle, you know, to me is infinity. It goes back to what Soka Hassan said. It's the element of creation. You know what I'm saying? It's that infinity. It's that triple, you know, that triple darkness. It's that the source of all creation. You know, Doc was the only person who could go outside of 360. You know what I mean? Like in one interview said, you know, I think it was Miss G said that Doc was connected to the creative forces. He was attracted to movements. You know what I'm saying? He was attracted to movements. Because if you look at the patch and then think, and not only is his hand outside of the circle, but his feet is outside of the circle too. And he could have easily, because Doc was a genius. I mean, he could have easily seen his patch, and he could have been like, you know what? I'm gonna keep my foot inside the patch. I'm gonna keep my hand inside the patch. This is, you know, I don't want it to be like that. But obviously, there was a reason why he wanted the feet and the hand to be outside of 360 degrees. You know, and so for me, the finger breaks the circle. You know, and outside the circle could be the element of creation, and outside of the circle is the infinity degrees. You know what I'm saying? It's the infinity degrees, and I think this is where, and I think the people who really understand this is those 15 grandmasters. I think when you get that high up in this system, I think your mind, I think everything just starts thinking like that. But anyway, I'm gonna wrap this show up. You know, thank you for tuning in. I have one call on the line. 6-4. I didn't really plan on taking any calls on these editions. I just want to play these interviews and then just let the audience, you know, hear it. And again, from Monday to Sunday, you can listen. I'm gonna upload the entirety of all these shows, and you can hear it in its entirety. But let me see. 3862.
Yeah.
3862. Yeah.
I was trying to get a 45 in him, and nobody had it.
Yeah.
3862. Yeah, I think. So anyway, thank you for tuning in, and heart to heart to the Walling Back us.